Welcome into Seeing Scarlet, y'all. Today, it's Wednesday, and y'all know what's happening tonight. You better know what's happening tonight. And if you don't, we're here to let you know. The basketball tournament, TBT, kicks off in Lubbock, Texas, as a host with the Air Raiders going at it for their first round game. And we thought, just in case you needed a little refresher on who's on this team, why you should get hyped, and what the heck is the TBT? No shame in not understanding what these people are playing in, because I guarantee most people going to that arena on Wednesday night or watching it on TV are just watching it because it's Texas Tech boys, and we understand that. Get it. Yeah. But there are going to be some unique rules in this tournament, some unique things that might catch you off guard, and we're like, hey, let's let you know who they're playing, what these teams are, what they're playing for, and some rules that are going to be a little bit unique. So that's what we're going to get into today.
Love it. So much learning. I can't wait. I'm
excited for this tournament. I'm so hyped to have actual Texas Tech related sports to watch.
Oh my gosh!
In the middle of the summer, it's just, it's nice. It feels like it's been forever, like since track basically finished up would have been the last one, and now we're just hanging on until football, and no, soccer technically starts first. Soccer and volleyball a couple days before football. So we got those coming up, but it's still a month or so away. So this is fun. And I wish I was in Lubbock and could go, because that atmosphere is going to be buzzing.
You know,
like,
you already know.
I don't know what the records are in the TBT, but we got to be getting close.
We're too good not to. Like, it's just going to happen. So
yes,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Who's on this team, y'all? I'll read the whole roster here in a second. But one cool tweet that came out from Little Chris Level this weekend when he was at one of the practices, he says, between the players, the staff, and the coaches that are all there's 9 different eras, as in Texas Tech men's coaches, represented upon this team. Yeah. It shows you the struggle that there was, that period of struggle where we went through like 5 coaches in 5 years. Basically, it felt like. And then all the other coaches that we've gone through over this.
It's like, there's going to be a 200-year-old man on this squad? What are you saying? But yes, you're right.
Texas Tech is not a school that has had one coach for like 10 years. Heck, at the longest. Like, we can get to 5 years, we're like, man, this is great.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, hopefully that changes with McCaslin. Right. He's the guy. But yeah, so that's really cool. There's a large range. And even amongst the players, just alone, there's a pretty large range. Like John Roberson's on the team, and he's the oldest player I think on the team, and he's from like pre-Tubby Smith even.
Wow.
Is that where he's like Billy Gillespie era, like all that Pat Summitt, like probably. Oof. He might have been there. I hope for his sake, I can't remember exactly. He might have been at the tail end. I don't know. Anyway, he's there, and it goes all the way up to as recent as Davion Warren from last year's team. So cool. The full roster, you might recognize some of these names, y'all. Yeah. We got Kyler Edwards coming back. You're not so mad at Kyler Edwards for leaving anymore now that we all know the full story, what was going on behind the scenes, are you? That guy transferred out and went to Houston after the Chris Beard left and all that. That was that year, and some fans or whatever. But he's back, and we're excited to have him back in a Texas Tech adjacent jersey in the USA representing the team. He is one of 6 players from that Final Four roster that is on this team, which is really cool to have them back. You also have Matt Mooney. I love Matt Mooney. Love the guy. Would love to have Matt Mooney on the pod. Yeah, so many armbands. Love the guy. Davide Moretti, like one of my all-time favorite players. Oh, Moretti. Love this guy. Tariq Owens is on
You're
the
sending
team.
me right back to Minneapolis right now. Like, I'm in the stands, like, watching this game.
Yeah. And then Parker Hicks is on the team. He was like walk-on on that team.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But he was there as well. All there. I think Brandon Francis was going to be on the team, but his professional team made the championship, which is great for him. But he tweeted yesterday that he's not able to make it to the TBT because of that. So it's like a bittersweet moment for him. So he would have been on there as well, but he's not. Cool. And in addition to those, we have Todrick Gocher, who we interviewed. You heard the interview yesterday with him. Go listen to that if you haven't. Great dude.
So good.
Dayon Kravich. I get it wrong all the time, but he was there when I was in school too, and the crowd loved this man. So he played. He was a performer for us at Texas Tech and had his moments, but he's been actually really successful over in Europe on his teams there. And he's going to add that element, that big man element. He'll understand the game because as we get into in a minute, you play European rules for the most part. John Roberson, as we mentioned, is on the team. Cool. You got Davion Warren, who's the most recent player from the 2022 team. And Jordan Tolbert, who people may or may not remember. He was played like 3 years at Texas Tech. And then transferred for SMU for his final year and was kind of he was really good there. But he was one of the bigger recruits in school history. I remember when he came in, just a really long, lanky dude. He's been doing work at the pro level overseas. And then the high flyer, Zach Smith. Love that guy. He was on the Elite 8 team.
He was.
That made it to the Elite 8 the year before the Final Four. I guarantee Keenan Evans, who was also on that team, would have been on this team if not for an Achilles injury in spring. He would have taken this team to another level. So it's a shame that he couldn't play next year. I'm sure he will be. But this is still a fun group, and we're biased. So like you look at the other rosters, you're like, who? You don't even recognize the names, right?
Yeah.
But ours, I'm like, oh my gosh. But I guarantee these other players on these other rosters are really good too. They're all pro players. So it'll be fun to see how we match up once we get going. But having the home crowd behind this group,
truly,
and like they've all been doing work at their pro teams or wherever they've been doing, so they're coming in fresh and like. Not rusty, put it that way.
Yep. And truly, like the home court advantage, that's what we as fans do best. They do best at playing basketball.
I feel bad for these other teams.
Truly.
I don't
truly
remember
unfair.
where we played last year in the TBT. We went somewhere and played.
Okay.
Maybe it was Wichita. They had a pretty good home crowd. Like they're one of the better ones, but I'm hoping we can break some records with this group.
Yes.
With at home. And they'll be in Lubbock. Let's see, for potentially 3 games if we win out.
Sweet.
So catch them on Wednesday.
Yep.
Catch them tonight.
Yeah.
There's tickets still available, but I know that there's a large number. They tweeted last week that we're on pace to maybe be like top 10 in TBT history or something, attendance wise. So there's still spots available, but not many. So get them if you can. And we play. Purple Hearts, yeah. Which, the cool thing about the TBT is most of these teams, some are random, but they usually have some tie. Like, obviously, the Air Raiders is an alumni team. It's all Texas Tech players or players that played at Texas Tech at some point in their career, right? This team is not an alumni team, but it is really cool. It has ex-NBA veteran Dwayne Coswell on it, and along with his son, or I'm sure he's like the GM and his son plays on the team.
Cool.
Their team is more of like they're playing for charity, which there are a few teams that do that. So it's like, I honestly want them to win, but they're playing us. I wish we weren't against them.
Yeah.
So I think this is their first year in the tournament.
Cool.
And they created this team to represent his goddaughter, who was tragically killed in a senseless gun violence incident. So if you're not aware, the tournament, whoever wins the tournament gets $1 million. It's a huge prize pot, and they split it amongst their players. Okay. This team is not going to keep the money. It's going to go to different charities, various charities, to bring awareness to gun violence, especially in inner cities. Cool. That's what their mission is on their page. So I thought that was really cool. That's who we're playing. Yeah. It's an assortment of different players. There's not like a tie specifically. Cool. But I'm sure to be on that team, it's going to be everyone's going to have their own individual story. Yeah. Like, it'll probably be emotional to listen to because it'll be one of those teams where they talk about why they're on this team throughout the broadcast. Like, this player's on this team because he had so-and-so that he knew that was killed tragically, and this player. I'm sure that's how people end up on this team because there's like a cancer team and all that in the tournament too. So I just thought that was cool. That's who we're playing in the first round. That's awesome. Yeah, and in the Lubbock, I guess, what do we call this? Like a regional or like for sure. The regional? There's the Enchantment, Austin's own, HBC United, which I love that play on words. Fun teams. In the Lab, Bleed Green, and Rise and Grind. The Mean Green UNT's alumni team. They talk a lot of smack on Twitter. I think they're the 2 seed in the region, so if you go by chalk, we would meet them in the final. The TBT is weird with seeding. Like, we were probably given a 1 seed because we're the host. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean on paper that we were considered the best team in the region. But of course, obviously we are. But a lot of times it doesn't go chalk in TBT is all I'm saying. So don't take too much stock into that ranking. Truly. And then, like, this Purple Hearts team is the lowest seed because they're the first year. Like, last year we had a really low seed because we were our first year team. So, gotta prove yourself. But so if we beat them on Wednesday, tonight, if we beat them tonight, we would then play. This is a fun one. You mentioned the Enchantment team.
I did.
That is the New Mexico, University of New Mexico alumni team.
Cool.
Or Austin's own, which is our rival, UT's alumni. It's their first year in TBT. So it's mostly University of Texas alums. Plus, this is a storyline.
Oh,
if
no.
you watched TBT last year, y'all, we had one Chandre Jones on our team. He was an air raider player last year because we couldn't find enough guys last minute from Texas Tech alumni. And he was one that joined the team, and he was our leading scorer. He's the reason we made it to the second round. He was hooping. I'm talking
on
like
fire.
25 plus points a game. Like, he was dropping 30 on people. Dang. And he's a great guy. I love the guy. I still follow him on Twitter. He loves Texas Tech fans, and he still does. He says that on Twitter. He became an honorary Red Raider.
Wow.
But something happened behind the scenes, which there's no shade towards our team. Again, our GMs, all the people who are running this. It's Andrew Sorrells is also a former walk-on the team, is the GM of the team. But it sounds like we were telling Jones he would have a spot on the team.
Oh, that's right. But
and I'm assuming I'm giving us credit to say there was an if added to that. If we can't fill it with all Texas Tech players or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, then we got enough commitments into June, and somewhere in June, Chandre tweeted like he was a little bit upset about how it was handled. In his eyes, there's two sides of the story. Anyway, he was upset with how it was handled and tweeted about it, basically that we had cut him last minute and he didn't have a team, so he tweeted that he wanted a team. He ended up, and he said he wanted to play in the Lubbock Regional Revenge. So I knew as soon as he tweeted that, I was like, he's going to end up on UT's team. He's just going to. He knows what he's doing. That gives him the best chance to play against Texas Tech. He said it's all love. He was really nice. All love to the Texas Tech fans. But I think we might have even reached back out to him afterwards when we had like Francis and others be like, hey, we can't play. Like, we still have a spot for you. And he was like, no, I'm good now. Okay. So there's a little bit of an added revenge tour. You got the UT players, but an unknown storyline, if this is your first time tuning in, is Chandre Jones was an air raider, and in my mind should have been considered as a Red Raider at this point and been on the team if we had a spot for him. But I get it. He didn't want to wait around any longer. He went and found his own team, and he's a hooper. Like, the dude can flat out score. Right. He's a pro baller like type scorer. It's different in the pro and the college level. He was out there. Him and Davion Warren were both our leading scorers last year, just going to town. So that'll be fun. I'm sure that's the matchup TBT wants, and I'm sure that's the matchup the fans want. But they're going to have to get past the Enchantment team, which I'm sure is good as well. So you can watch that game. It's in Lubbock as well. It'll happen. Our game is at 8 Central in Lubbock. Get your tickets on Wednesday tonight. The UT team plays before that, so probably around 6 or something.
Yeah, they're at 6.
Up the times. Yeah, 6. And my guess is, again, I don't know how the tickets work, but usually in this scenario, you get like session tickets. So you might just get a session ticket, and you get to go to those anyway if you bought Texas Tech tickets. So if you want to go check it out, you can. And then we would play them on Friday. We'll play the winner of that on Friday. If we win that game, then you play Sunday. So you get 1 day of rest. And that's all of the games in Lubbock.
Okay.
So if you win out, go ahead.
Is it single elimination? Like, if we...
Yep, you lose, you're gone.
Ooh. Cutthroat.
Yeah. One and done for $1 million. Dang. Yeah, it's tough. Like, last year's winner, I can't remember who it was, but they almost lost in the first round because I watched the game and then they ended up winning the whole thing. So
good to know.
Yeah, so one and done for $1 million.
Let's do it.
They'll play in Lubbock through the final 8, so we could be in the final 8 if we went out in Lubbock, and then we would have to go to Louisville. We'd match up with the Louisville region winner, and it's going to be played in Louisville. It's all pre-scheduled. So they get that game there, and then if you win that, you're in the final 4. And that quarterfinal game in Louisville would be the 31st, the end of August. You get a week off if you make it to that game to prep, and then you play that game, and then you go to the final 4 in Philly 2 days later on August 2nd, 1st, something like that to finish it out. So... I mean, I'm saying I've never been to Philly. If they make it, I might make a trip up to Philly. That'd be fun.
Philly's fun.
So we'll see. But there's a good chance you can make it to that Louisville game with the home crowd alone.
That's right.
But there's some really good teams in our region. Like the Mean Green's going to be a favorite. They did well last year.
Yeah.
And there's some others, some pro teams in there that are compiled of like all players that are playing in Europe right now. So they're highly tuned. They've not been sitting on their couch doing nothing. So like Everland Drive or whatever, I think is in ours maybe. I don't know. They've been around for a while in this tournament. So there's some of them that have been around for a minute, and if you've been watching it, they consistently are successful.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bracket right now, and part of me is like, okay, this is going to be competitive. Like anytime Texas Tech and
it's
UT,
really high level basketball.
Oh yeah, and then there's like team names that I'm like, wow, did I play this team in intramurals when I was at?
Some of them
like
are silly.
There's
I mean even air raiders, but we get it. Because Air Raid, they took a play on that, but...
Well, Shelby, like, there's a team called Friday Beers. The Money Team. Nasty Natty. Like, I'm here for this. I don't know what the vibe is going to be.
The Cheaters. The LA Cheaters or something. I'm like, what's the story
definitely...
there? Were you all players that, like, got NCAA violations? Like, I need to know the story, and I'm so here for it. Like, what did y'all do to be named Cheaters?
Truly.
It's great.
Living the dream.
No,
LA
like,
Cheaters.
moral code, really. Like, the names are just... They're funny. There's some great reasons.
I love it. Yeah, and then mixed in with like obviously there's some charity work in here. There's a couple of other teams.
Cancer has been around for a long time.
But I'm so curious to watch it this year. I didn't last year to see the vibe, and I'm curious with it being hosted in Lubbock. There is no other vibe other than we're here to win. So
especially if we win, like you make it to that Sunday like regional final game or whatever, that place is gonna be bumping. I know the students aren't in town, I get it, but you've seen what Lubbock's been doing for the semi-pro soccer team, the men's team.
Yeah, the Matadors.
They're making like 6,000 people there for those games.
I know.
Like imagine what they're gonna do for this basketball team or the TBT if we get going. So.
I love it. I can't wait. That's so cool. That's amazing.
And a few notes about, like I said earlier, there are some things. So, Sibby, you said you have never watched this tournament before, right?
I have not.
There's a lot of people that might be similar. Some may have watched last year, but we only won one game, so we only played two, and you might not have had a chance to catch on to what the hell was happening. So basically, as we mentioned, there's a huge amount of people in this. They're playing for $1 million. You split it amongst your team. Cool. Currently, we have 10 players on the team, I believe. You can't add players, so who knows? Maybe a Jarrett Culver will make an appearance. He's in Lubbock. He's in the pictures with the team.
He's in the building.
I'm just putting it out there. Maybe our boy, I think he's a coach or something on the team. He's not listed as one, but he was not in a practice jersey, but he was on the court in the pictures they were taking. So you never know. Maybe someone will make a special appearance. But they'll split it amongst the coaches and the GM and all that. They work it out. But the biggest difference you're going to see in this is the timing. So you're going to play 4 quarters at 9 minutes each, with a short little 10-minute halftime. It's similar to like if you ever played AAU ball, like it's shorter games, right? Shorter games.
Yep.
But the biggest difference is what's called an elim ending. And so in the fourth quarter, after you've played all 4 quarters, it doesn't just end. You don't just end with whoever's winning like a traditional basketball game. You start the elim ending. And this starts with, well, I guess it's not the end of the fourth quarter. It's like with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Okay. You
start the elim ending. And what happens is whoever's winning, so Texas Tech is up,
of course,
56-48. I'm saying low scoring defensive battle like we do. We're up by 8. We then get 8 more points added to a target score. So we have to get to 64 before the other team gets to 64. So we still have an 8-point cushion to start, but you'd also have to get to this target score before someone else does.
Huh.
Once you see it, it makes sense. So
yeah.
And like we could be up 72-50. It doesn't matter. We could be absolutely blowing someone out. We're still going to have to play the elim ending out and get to the target score. In that scenario would be 80 before they get to 80. They would have to score 30 points. We'd have to score 8.
Okay.
Sometimes there's some crazy comebacks because the clock goes away.
I can imagine. Yes.
The clock leaves. There's no more clock. You can't just run the clock down and play that boring 4-corner basketball. You have to score to win. And so every game ends in a quote-unquote walk-off, like in baseball.
Yeah.
You're going to have a walk-off shot, whether it be a free throw or an actual shot, a walk-off dunk. The championship last year was won with a walk-off dunk. So that was cool.
That's really fun.
And there's also, like, the player that makes the Elam ending score. There's a sponsor, at least there was last year, where they get paid they get a little bonus for making the Elam ending score. Cool. Whoever sponsors, so it's cool for the player. But there's a lot of strategy that goes into that, because it happens at that 4-minute mark and then the clock goes away. So, but there has to be a dead ball when it happens. So there's this whole strategy. You'll see the coaches like, do I call a timeout on purpose once it gets right at 4, so that if we need the full amount? Or, hey, what if we're up by a bunch or whatever? Like, there's a way to go it, like, because you want to have the ball to start it.
Right.
Because there's no secondary possession. If you have the ball to start, you get an extra possession, in theory. So there's a lot of strategy that'll go into it. You could read up on it. And then there's also another bit of that where if you're in bonus and you foul in the Elam ending, you don't just get a free throw, you get the free throw and the ball. So fouling is like a big hindrance. It can allow a team to really get back into it if you start fouling at the end of the games. And that is to keep like hack-a-shack out of the game. So you couldn't just be like, oh, I'm down 20. Because it's basically eradicates all the there's smart strategy that people use in other levels of basketball. Yeah. But fans hate to watch. It's smart to run out the clock. It's smart to do hack-a-shack stuff. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to watch this. The Elam ending is all about the fans. And it makes the game exciting from the beginning to the end. And you'll love it once you get into it, but it is a little confusing. Just remember, when they say Elam ending, whatever the score is, you got to get whoever's winning. It's 8+ that, and that'll be the target score. So even if you're losing, like if Texas Tech's down 5, when that happens, they're going to have to get, 13 points to get to the target score versus their opponent only has to get 8. So it gives you a chance to get back into the game. Cool. Last year in our first round game, it gives you a chance to choke. We almost did it in our first round. We were up pretty big, like 20, and we really let them get back into it. So it makes you nervous on either end, but it's fun to watch. That's the biggest change.
That is, a huge difference or something to kind of be adapted to.
That's different from all basketball.
Everything.
You don't see that. They've actually implemented it at the NBA All-Star game in recent years. Cool. So it's been fun for that because it makes them actually play out the game, and because no one watched it because it was like stupid. They weren't trying, but it makes them try a little bit more. Cool. It's been good for that. And then the other differences are really just European rules, basically. They don't play like what you would call NBA rules or even college rules. There's some European rules you might not be used to, which is really fun. They have the goaltending rule that we talked about previously, where it would be cool if women's basketball had it. Like Kylie could just, like, you can't goaltend, basically. You can goaltend, you can't get it if the ball is on the way down. Like, that's the traditional, that one still counts. That's goaltending. But if the ball's just hanging out on the rim,
you can snag it.
In what we would call American rules, you can't touch it. You have to give it a chance to fall out of the cylinder in it. In European rules and in TBT rules, you can slap it off there. So Tariq Owens, for instance,
oh my gosh,
can jump there and slap it off. The difficulty is he's not used to it, so he has to train his brain to it.
Oh, yeah.
Versus like a Kravich, who's been playing overseas, and he's tall. He'll have that instinctively. Well, he'll jump up to slap it off, right?
What an advantage,
But if Zach Smith and Tariq Owens can learn it, they didn't really do it much last year because that's such an instinctual thing you've never done your whole life. It is tough. So that is why sometimes the European player, they're American players, but they've been playing over in Europe, a lot of them. Or they understand it because it's not the big guys, the guards. All these guys can jump, like Todrick. He's been playing overseas forever. Like he can jump up there and do it too. Like it's fun. It's a fun element of when you have guys that understand the rule and can take advantage of it. It adds a little like volleyball element to it. Like get out of here. Like you're not getting into those cheap shots that roll around the rim for like 10 minutes because you can't go through the net. But if you can jump over it and slap it off the rim, you can slap it off the rim.
My God.
I love it. I'd love to see it implemented in our basketball over here. But that's probably another one that people might be surprised by. You're gonna be screaming goaltending.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not.
Right. Yeah. I'm so interested to, like, I'm thinking of some logistics too of like the referees. Like what does their training look like?
A lot of them probably come from, they might not, but I bet they get some European refs but cool. They might just be the normal high school or college refs. They don't got nothing to do this time of year. They just gotta learn it. So
get your body moving.
I'm sure there's some times where they start to blow the whistle and they're like, no.
Swallow the whistle.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of that.
Yeah.
The refereeing probably won't be great. Just go ahead and prepare yourself for
Just,
that.
yeah, I know. I was
You're
like,
not
no
gonna- I
matter.
don't know. The NBA refs are off. The college refs are off. You should be able to get the best of the best if they're going to pay for them, but that's on the TBT. So, speaking of refs, you do have 6 fouls, just like in the NBA. So it's not like college rules. So the guys will have an extra foul there to play with.
Good to know.
Than what if people are just watching that just watch Texas Tech basketball. It's more like pro basketball in that sense. So you got an extra foul, which is good for a team like us that likes to play defense. Can play a little more aggressively.
A little more aggressive, yeah. That's awesome. And what a lineup! Our roster is just so good. I'm looking at it right now. It's just it's.
I'm excited. I've been like I keep forgetting it's coming because like I feel like not enough people are talking about it.
Yep.
But
here
now
we are.
everybody's starting to talk about it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's happening this week! It's here!" I know people have been buying tickets. It sounds like everybody I know is going to that game, so I'm hype about it, and can't wait to see the atmosphere. I hope everybody posts a lot of videos and has a great time. If you're in Lubbock tonight, live it up, man. Go crazy. Bring the swag surf to the TBT. You know that's why they put it there. They want to see that. Students aren't there, but there's enough alumni that will go down there and be students for the day.
I know.
Guaranteed.
I've had a few people.
It's an excuse to be like, oh, I can pretend to be the students now because they're not here, and be silly. So yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited to watch it.
That's awesome. Let's get a natty championship in the summer. Why not? Why not?
It's called
TBT
a world championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Win $1 million. That'd be cool for these guys. That's
no kidding.
Even separated 10 ways or 12 ways, that's still a good chunk of change.
Yeah, they're getting some
80,
dollars.
000,
Get that bag.
That's a year's salary for a lot of people. Like, sign it up. Let's go.
Facts. Wow, that's awesome.
All right.
Well, cool.
Wreck 'em, y'all. Let's go get it. Let's go get some dubs.
Do it.